Hi, good morning. Very early morning. It's still dark here. And this is Kim with www.embody-light.com. I do psychic readings, hypnotherapy, Akashic Records work, past life regression, sound healing, Reiki, all kinds of things. Just check out my website. And as far as Akashic Records work goes, what we're doing, I don't actually read the Akashic Records, although parts of it come through in a session, is we work on the things in your lifetime that are similar to other things in past lifetimes that's impacting your Akashic Records. That's what we do with Akashic Record sessions. So anyways, back to the subject of this video. I am going to talk about, as humans, many of us have had past lives as animals. I personally have found out that I've had only 12 human past lives on this planet. Other planets I've had more, and 10 animal past lives. So, as humans, often we've had a previous life as an animal, and we will maybe in future. So our oversoul is like a collective of all our experiences. I guess we could call it our higher self. And out of that oversoul, we can actually have up to 8 different experiences at one time. I don't think it's that common to spread yourself that thin, but some do it. So we can have a lifetime simultaneously as an animal and a human. And to choose a lifetime as an animal has nothing to do with hierarchy. It has to do with the experience and attributes we want to have. And anyone who is a star-seeded individual who was here from the beginning, we came in first as ether, and then we came in as plant, as mineral, maybe not in that order. And because I know for myself as a fact that I had a lifetime as a tree, I remember it. And actually, it's not even a lifetime that's over. That tree is still alive in some snowy mountain valley. It's a big, massive pine tree. When I was meditating one time, all of a sudden I was a pine tree. I could see the beautiful valley and the snow, and it was just breathtakingly beautiful. And I just thought I merged with the consciousness of a tree. No, that wasn't what it was. That was a part of my energy that I actually came in as a tree. So, what are some of the reasons that somebody would want to do a human life and an animal life simultaneously? And I'm looking at my notes. It was a while ago that I did this reading. Early coffee. I know it's not good for me, so keep your comments to yourself. So what are some of the reasons? Well, there's more than one reason, but a lot of it is because they're going to feed to each other energies that they need. So you've got somebody who's maybe on a spiritual journey. They may have a lifetime as a cat, because cats and wolves, I believe, are the most psychic type creatures that we have. So that person would feed off the energy, because if you're still connected energetically, even though if you're in this life as two different beings that don't know each other. It could be something like you're coming in this lifetime to learn loyalty. So you might have another experience that's experiencing life as a dog, a domestic pet. There's many, many possibilities. Freedom or song or expression, you might be a bird. Now, this isn't just lifetimes that you might be experiencing concurrently, but these may have been lifetimes you had in the past so that you could learn certain attributes that you want to bring through. And a lot of this was centered around this Ascension series. So, for example, one of the lifetimes I had, I was an elephant in India. And actually, a twin elephant, I have to look this up. Somebody told me this is really rare for an elephant to have twins. I don't know if that's true or not, because people say all kinds of things. But we, in that lifetime, it was like considered a sign or something that you had two twin elephants. So we were kind of treasured, I guess you would say. Um, so the human will carry that trait as a memory and unconscious thing. So what would be the reason for somebody wanting to come in to be an elephant? Well, two things, and it's so obvious. Spirit tells me. Elephants have thicker skin, so sometimes people need to learn to be a little bit less sensitive, to not have things bother them so much. Literally, that is an attribute that a lifetime as an elephant can help. The other thing is the memory. Often people who have they're telling me this right now, photographic memories have had past lives as an elephant. What do they say? An elephant never forgets. So how did that help me in this lifetime? Well, I knew from the time I was probably 2 years old on, I don't think I realized it before that, but by about the age of 2, that there was something that I needed to remember and that I couldn't forget. And I knew I had to pay close attention and remember everything. Well, that is a skill that I had from my lifetime as an elephant. So I just thought some of this stuff was really interesting. This isn't a real learn one, but it's just kind of fun to know about. So what else? Okay, people with genius IQs or photographic memories. I forgot about the photographic memories. In the extreme are carrying the ability that have most likely had a past life as an elephant, or they carry that in them. A musician may have been a songbird or may have themselves in another existence simultaneously as a songbird. And it's like I said, it's my next lifetime, if I had a next lifetime, could be an animal. You're not being demoted if you come in as an animal. You come in for insight, healing, or rest as an animal. Animals do not hold the consciousness of separation from source. They do not recognize it as source per se. They recognize that they are a part of the all. So that's another reason why we come in and want to spend time in a lifetime as an animal to learn unity consciousness. Or if an individual had a particularly difficult life, lonely, lack of love, self-love, they may choose an animal life. And because animals function from unity consciousness, unconditional love, this would help to heal or counteract the wounds of a past life. Or you may choose to be a pet, say a puppy, in agreement with your pet parents to bring loyalty, unconditional love, healing to the human family. And oftentimes, especially dogs will pick up and carry the consciousness of their owners. I knew of one situation where it was a man who, well, he had a real abusive history from his childhood, and he had unconscious memories, and he carried a lot of anger. And he had a really hard time with all of this in this lifetime. So then he had a pet, his loyal dog, the only one he felt like who really loved him. Well, that dog ended up dying of cancer. Well, that is because the animals will absorb and it's contracted. They'll absorb the dysfunction from the family to lighten the human load. So that's what happened there. They're in service to us, and they teach us how to be in service to others. Um, the other thing now, animals, they consider this a bonus because the life of an animal is much shorter than the life of a human. And they like to come in and start out new. We've all probably heard or seen of a time where somebody's, young little puppy runs out into the street and gets hit by a car. And we all think it's such a tragedy. Well, it is to the people left behind that are devastated. But that animal actually, they don't care. They like that fresh, fun feeling of having all that energy. They're happy to come in, to end their life and come in and start new again, some of them. So, what else do I have to talk about? So, because animals do not have the separation of consciousness, they are always kind of in the psychic zone. They are all still connected to Source through their core star, just like humans. And the senses they use mainly is clairsentience or clear feeling. Animals who are neglected or abused have a difficult time holding their life force in their bodies. An animal that is bred for fighting and severely abused could be affected by a lower astral entity just as a human could. So you could have like a demonic influence over an animal that's been so low and neglected. Basically, they would have holes in their field just like we would. I have seen this just once with a cat that was abused, and that cat was really unpredictable, scary, almost acted like it had distemper, but it did not. And that was the effect of an entity influencing that animal. The entity wasn't per se trying to get to the cat, but was trying to affect the family of the cat through the cat. So that can happen. What else can happen? The deceased can use animals to communicate with us. We all hear about the stories of them sending a dove or a dragonfly or butterflies or any of those kinds of things to get us messages. Because they are very, like I said, they're in the psychic zone because they don't have any sense of separation. So they're always kind of in that zone, and they can be influenced by spirits, good or bad. So one of the things that I had an experience with in my life, and I have talked about this before, was when my best friend Jay died, who, by the way, was my twin flame. And I really, up to that point, I mean, I had a lot of intuition, psychic things happen, but I wasn't really working with it, and I had no interest in talking to deceased people or anything. But Jay started communicating with me, and that's kind of what started my journey. And one of the things that happened as I was just kind of starting to believe this was, well, I had communicated with like deceased relatives for a short time when they'd passed, but never anything like this. But I was out in the backyard thinking about him. I mean, I was devastated. It wasn't that long after I found out he had died. And we have a hammock that's on a metal frame and it swings back and forth. And it sits against a fence and some lilac bushes. So I'm kind of glancing over there thinking about Jay. All of a sudden I see this mesh swing, the hammock. I see like it sink down like a person sat in it. And I thought that's really weird. And and I knew Jay was around me, and he was actually earthbound for about 5 months, and so the communication was very easy. So I'm like, Jay, is that you? And I go over there and I see things moving around. Well, on both sides of that swing, there's two blue jays, and it was just like just a little sign from him letting me know that he's around and he's okay. And that is very common. And that is because animals, like I said, they do not have the separation of consciousness. They're always in the psychic zone and they can be very easily influenced by an angel or something to perform a feat or whatever they need to do. So that was very interesting. Now, there's some more interesting things that I wanted to tell you about. Um, animals Animal communication. How do you communicate with animals? Well, they communicate through feelings and pictures. And every once in a while, I will get somebody who wants me to do a reading on their animal. And what I usually say is, that's really not my specialty. I don't really know how to do that. But I'll talk to you for a few minutes and see if I can. I don't charge for something that I don't know if I can do. But I'll talk to you for a few minutes and see if we can make any headway of this. And I'll do that. And then they'll come back and want to pay for a reading. It's like, I don't do that. And what I'm told is, yeah, but you're the most accurate person I've ever dealt with in this, which surprises me because I don't do this. But sometimes I can pick up on the energy. So, like with my dog, what I've noticed is if he loves to go on his WALKSs, he's not awake yet, so I could say it. If he hears me say it, you won't be able to hear me. He'll be barking and carrying on, want to go out right now in the middle of the night or early morning. And that's not happening. But if I start, what I've noticed is even if I start thinking about it, if I start picturing it in my mind where we're going to go, he gets just as excited as if I've said it because he is able to read that kind of communication. Animals, you can do healing with animals. This is really interesting for me. And I talked about this before. It was the summer, we were leaving to go to our cabin, going on like a week's vacation. Dog is coming with us, but right the night before we're leaving, all of a sudden he's limping and he can't put any pressure on his front paw. He must have jumped off of something or injured it. So I thought, oh no, we're not going. So what I did was, I'm a Reiki master and it's very effective and powerful. I thought, well, I'm going to work on the dog. So I waited till he was sleeping and I worked on him, just brought through unconditional love, powerful healing energy. He got up in the morning and you could tell when he was trying to stand on it, he was afraid. He didn't think he'd be able to. Pretty soon he's running around the house. It completely healed the issue. So it was funny when I was working on him, just to tell you, how connected energetically they are, as I started coming in towards his head with my hands, I wasn't even touching him and his ears started twitching. He could feel it. After that, then, he was my buddy for the rest of the time we were camping. Well, we're not camping, we're in a cabin, but I'd be sitting there like this and his little head is through here and he's just constantly on me because he recognized that healing energy and he didn't know what it was and he wanted more. So I thought that was real interesting. The other thing is, other planets have beings that look more like animals. And some of our animals, if not all of them, are the genetics were brought in from other planets to create that here. And one of the things that I noticed was, once I did, doing a meditation of taking my power back, in my meditation, I kept looking at this guy. I couldn't believe it. There's a lion, an actual lion head, but he's got a general's uniform on. I kept looking and looking and looking, and this was somebody from the Lion Wars who had caused some harm. And that's why I was in my meditation. I was taking my power back. So some of the things, as I talked about before, elephants, they're basically the record keepers of the planet. Elephants and whales. if you're really attracted to a certain breed of animal, that could also be a clue that you had a past life as one. I personally, I wonder if I still have, I don't have that in here. I have three little elephants that hold up a little crystal ball somebody gave me as a gift. It's one of my favorite things. They recognize patterns, unity consciousness. So one of the other things that I was told that I found very interesting about animals is that have you ever seen um, a person that maybe has a face where their nasal structure and their nose reminds you of a bird's beak? Or I know of one person who has the most striking eyes you could ever imagine. Everybody calls them wolf eyes. Well, actually, when I asked Spirit what that was about, what they told me is like those people that have kind of look like birds. I've even seen people who look like horses too, in their facial structure, where they kind of look like birds, or they kind of look like horses, or like that lady with the wolf eyes. Um, that they actually had past lives as those animals, and they bring those traits through because it is in the very subtle genetics, the what we call the junk genetics, all those memories, all those codons, whatever you want to call them, are all in there. So a little bit of that structure will kind of come through in the person's appearance. Um, so there's the cat, there's the birds, um, yep, it's in the junk DNA. Um, let's see. Um, and past life memories may emerge of having a lifetime as an animal. So, and then we will have some people on this planet where, because we're a mixture of people from many other different planets, where maybe they have strong genetic ties to like a canine race on another planet, or the Lyrans. The other thing I don't think I mentioned that often, I talked about somebody having a simultaneous life. I may have mentioned this, a simultaneous life as a cat. Well, people may have had past life experiences as cats to try to, not try to access some of those gifts and abilities of being so connected to spirit and being intuitive. And some people you can actually see like, almost like a cat-like structure in their face. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you. Now I remember. I didn't have it written down. Spirit just reminded me. So we always had this joke in my family. Well, it wasn't about this, but our mother was very, very sick and on death's doorsteps many times, and she always survived. She lived till she was 69. She got sick in childhood, so this went on all her life. But it was always a joke that she must be part cat because she has 9 lives. The fact of the matter is, that's true. She did have past lives as a cat, and that somehow that memory, whatever, is part of her DNA or integration. She carried those memories, and that's part of what got her through all of those very, very times she was so critically ill she could have passed. So, that being said, I love you all. Have a blessed day. This was just going to be a fun little video. I do psychic readings, hypnotherapy. I can teach you to meditate, to use a pendulum, all kinds of different things. Just visit my website at www.embody-light.com. And one more thing, I have always said, I am not coming back to this planet again. This is my last time, unless I can be a bird or a bear, because I do not like the cold. Birds can fly away and go south, and bears can hibernate. So that's the way it will be. I love you all. Have a blessed day. Please, any questions, anything you'd like to see covered on upcoming websites, please leave them in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.